So my name is Kristian Segerstrale. I'm the co-founder and former chief executive of Playfish, now the general manager of Playfish and a vice president at Electronic Arts. And I'm informing Informilo.
Hi, Kristian. Thanks for agreeing to be interviewed. So you're coming from a startup environment, and now you're going to be working from inside a big company, EA. What sort of approach are you going to take coming in?
Okay, well, I mean, the reason why we're so excited to be part of the EA family is that we now get to work on some of the most loved IP in the computer games industry, and of course the whole team at Playfish has enormous respect for the creatives inside the various EA labels, and the idea of getting to work on some of those IPs is really it's tantalizing, I think, across the whole organization. So so that's one of the reasons why why we are so excited about working with EA. And I think the approach that we'll take is one of hopefully we can add some value to those IP, and we think we've learned something in the social gaming space that we think is very relevant to the future of that IP, and perhaps we can help. So I think we'll hopefully come in with a with an open mind and a humble attitude, and hopefully we can make good things happen over time.
Is your approach something that you could bolt on to older titles, or is it just something that you would look to do when creating new properties going forward?
Sure. So I think one of the reasons, again, why we partnered with EA is that we share the same vision of the future of the computer games industry. We're huge believers in the pace at which the industry is moving from being effectively a physical box-based business to being a digital business and to being largely a service-based business. So with that in mind, I think every computer game in the future will move in the direction of being digital and being service-based, where you launch new items and you launch things over time in that game. And from that perspective, our business as a social games company really is at the bleeding edge of that trend. We operate games as a service. We operate games where the primary business model is microtransactions, and games which are updated every week. So in that sense, we think we're hoping to be able to share perhaps some of the experience in that area, and also work with some of those that games IP that's been built over the past 5 to 10 to 15 years, in order to hopefully be able to create a product which is not only built off the back of an IP which is loved in the games industry, but also perhaps uses some of that expertise that we've been able to build over the past few years of our experience on social networks.
So does that mean that like an existing loved title might show up as a game you could play on Facebook?
So I think there will be many incarnations of IP in the computer games industry moving forward. Just like you have, I think EA had 7 of the top 11 grossing titles on the iPhone in December, which is an awesome achievement on a platform which is arguably the most democratic game platform ever, to have been launched. I think in it, and just like these games exist on the iPhone as well as they exist on the console, I think we will see some IP migrate over to social networks. I don't think it makes sense necessarily for every IP, but I think there will be a lot of IP where it will make sense, and equally excitingly, perhaps we will be able to build out some IP on social networks which perhaps might find a home also on other platforms. So I think the future of games in general, I think we will see being digital and service-based and also multi-platform.
One of the main reasons why big companies fail to fully leverage technologies that they and startups that they buy is the not invented here mentality. There's a resistance inside to doing things differently. How will you deal with that issue?
So we will deal with it as best we can. I think one of the great things about Playfish is that our internal culture is one of sharing. We create builds of every single one of our games every week for the whole company to feedback on. We try to create a culture internally where every opinion counts, and every opinion is being listened to.
But that's the beauty of a startup.
That's right.
And how do you translate that culture into a much, much bigger, perhaps more conservative culture?
Sure, and I think our experience of EA so far, which is 3 months old, has been fantastic. I think we couldn't have expected a more welcoming spirit, both not just from the senior executives, but also from all the people that we met across the board, across the different labels and different games teams. So, and I think there's a lot of excitement about us being part of the family, and we've certainly felt very welcome. So I think what we'll try and do is we'll try to go in with an open mind and see where we can add value to the business, because ultimately there is creative talent across the company. There are some very clever people, some very hardworking people across all parts of the organization. And what we'll try and do is share what we've learned and help where we can help, and also appreciate that we don't have monopoly on all the best ideas or the best creative, and so we'll try and find ways to work with the broader company in such a way that we truly add value without looking like we're trying to wrestle control of something.
Okay, are you legally and or morally committed to staying, and if so, for how long?
Sure. So we're actually really excited about this. I mean, it's, I suppose, it's an inevitable question, but the reason, again, why we thought it was such an exciting deal to do, to combine with EA, was the fact that we feel we've only scratched the surface of where the games industry is going. In many ways, we're in this sort of, inflection point, if you like, a tectonic plate shift, whereby games are moving from being products to being digital services. And that process, I think, is only at its very beginning. And I think we're going to see a games industry over the next 5 years, which will be relatively rapidly transforming, but also growing. Because what's unique about our business is that we are able to reach all those players who don't normally play computer games, which means that we're able to build, if you like, a base for a pyramid of game players, which is far broader than the games industry has ever been able to do before. And which I think, if the computer games industry can be a $40 to $50 billion industry, purely focusing on, or the majority anyway of it being in the console market, how big can the industry be once we're able to reach those people who play games not because of that immersive journey on a console, but rather just because they want to have fun with friends. And that's what excites me, and that's why I'm in it for the very long term.
Okay, very good. And so how is your daily routine, your daily life changed so far?
So actually relatively little. I think we've had a lot of tailwind, if you like, from EA in terms of helping resource those areas of the company where we need resourcing the most. We're growing very quickly, as you know. So areas like recruitment, areas like enabling us to find facilities and being able to just grow out quicker has been great. Other than that, we are really focused on trying to create great games for people and for people to play with their friends, and that's really what consumes 90% of our day. Of course, now there's also trying to figure out how we can help the broader company, but I would say the vast majority of the day hasn't changed.
Okay, and is everybody on the team staying?
Everybody on the team staying, that's right.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.